Okay, we're going to call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Hearing Board to order. We're here today to hear the application, Mr. Keith Mooney, on behalf of his client, Bausman Memorial United Church, owner of the property located at 1064 Penn Avenue, and identified as tax parcel ID, I won't read that, is requesting special exception approval under section 606.8.19 signs to allow a digital message board that can change electronically, a variance from section 606.8.6 signs to allow a freestanding sign at a height of 9 feet, a variance from section 606.B2B to allow a freestanding sign measuring 27.5 square feet in area. The property is located in R2 suburban residential district. It's currently developed with a church and small off-street parking area. There's an existing freestanding sign facing Penn Avenue. The sign has a message board within glass cabinet with letters that can be manually changed. Specific size and height requirements for the existing sign have not been provided by the applicant. The existing sign is grandfathered non-conforming. The church is proposing to install a new sign that will contain a digital message board that will measure 30 feet, 35 inches high by 75 inches long, or 18.22 square feet. The digital message board will be part of a larger sign cabinet that will measure in total 27.5 square feet and measure 9 feet in height at the tallest point. Section 606.819 sign states that any sign that has a message that can change whether manually, mechanically, or electronically, must obtain special exception approval from the zoning hearing board. The existing sign changes manually, while the proposed sign will change electronically, meaning the right to replace the grandfathered non-conforming sign does not carry over to the new sign. The applicant is requesting special exception approval under this section. The exact measurements for the existing sign have not been provided. The applicant has indicated it is smaller and shorter than the proposed sign. The proposed sign will measure 9 feet at the tallest point. Section 606.816 sign states that the distance from the ground to the highest part of any freestanding sign shall not exceed 6 feet. In the districts listed, the applicant is requesting a variance from this section. The overall square footage of the proposed sign will measure 27.5 square feet. Section 606 says no sign of any side of any sign, excluding signs consisting of open lettering attached to a building, shall exceed 25 square feet in area. The applicant is requesting a variance from this section. Okay, before we begin, I'd like to introduce the people this end of the board, and Michelle sitting at that end of the table, and Robert Ellman is a member of the zoning hearing board. Ajwa Patish is a member of the zoning hearing board. Dan Becker is our counsel. I'm David Rothenwald. I'm the chairman of the zoning hearing board. And while we're introducing, may I ask the gentlemen that are in the back of the room, are you here in support or in opposition to the candidate, or just for information?
Need more information.
Okay.
Why don't we make sure we get the names? So why don't we start out, let's go around, make sure you have the names for the record. As you can see, this is going to be stenographically recorded. So, sir, if you would please state your name.
Sure. Chip Lontai, L-O-N-T-A-I.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Chip.
Chip, yeah. Lontai, L-O-N-T-A-I. I live at 18 South Trent, so right across the street from Bausman.
I'm sorry, 18
South Trent
Trent.
Avenue.
Trent.
Trent, T-R-E-N-T Avenue. Yeah, I'm just here for more information.
That's Bolak, 1138.
Again, so just again say it and then spell your name. So
Vince Bolak, V-I-N-C-E-B-O-L-E-K. 1138
I'm sorry, the
Belmont.
last name again?
Bolak,
B,
B-O-L-E-K.
thank you, sorry.
1138 Belmont Avenue. And I have a safety concern after I hear the details. Maybe it'll go away, but
okay, thank you. Sir?
Dave Waligerski, Waligurski. I'm with L&H Companies, the signage provider.
Sir?
It's Raphael Persad, P-E-R-S-A-U-D,
I'm sorry, P-E-R.
S-A-U-D, as in Delta. I'm with L&H Companies, the sign provider.
Yep.
Keith, you're gonna swear your witnesses?
Yes,
Well,
I-
make sure you,
Oh,
before
I'm
you do
sorry.
that, do we want to go through?
I'm sorry,
Yep.
it's your turn, it's
All right.
Dan's turn.
So, let me explain the way the hearing is going to run today. I'm sorry, one of the people we have not met is the gentleman sitting next to Mr. Mooney. Your name, sir?
Chris Works, W-R-T-Z.
And Mr. Wertz?
Bausman UCC.
Okay, so you're here as a representative of the church.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Wertz, as the applicant, and on behalf of the applicant for the church, it's your burden of proof today. You can do that with the assistance of Mr. Mooney, who's been here before the zoning hearing board many times. And what that means is you have to be able to explain to the zoning hearing board why the relief that you're requesting should be granted. You can do that through testimony, which would be you explaining to us the reasons why, as well as with exhibits. At the conclusion of your testimony, or in any witness's testimony, the board members and I will have the opportunity to ask you additional questions. We will also see if any of those residents are out there and have any questions as well. After the testimony has been presented by the applicant, we will also find out whether there's any members of the board who would like, or I'm sorry, of the public that would like to present any testimony or exhibits as well. After all the testimony has been presented and all the questions have been asked, this board will go into deliberations into an executive session. Typically, we will try to render an oral decision today, but it will depend on the facts of the case. We do have 45 days in which to render that decision. Do you have any questions about how we intend to proceed today? No. Okay, thank you very much.
Now, Mr. Mooney can swear his witness, and we'll swear Michelle and
I'd actually ask that Mr. Wertz and Mr. Persol be sworn in.
That's great.
Mr. Pursley, your name again?
It's Raphael, R-A-P-H-A-E-L, last name Persad, P-E-R-S-A-U-D.
Thanks.
Okay, if you all raise your right hands, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I know.
Okay. What's that?
Mr. Wertz, can you state your full name and business address for the record, please?
Christopher Works, W-R-T-Z, 540 Hefner Road, Warrersville, Pennsylvania, 19565. That's my personal address.
And what is your relationship with the Bausman Memorial United Church of Christ?
I'm a member of the church and also the head of the property committee.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit A2. It is a deed from Sarah Regner and Horace Regner to the Bausman Memorial Church of Wyomissing, made in January of 1912. I ask you to look at that. Is that one of the deeds that makes up the church campus?
Correct.
Showing you another deed that's marked as Exhibit A3, and that is a deed dated February 10th, 1911, from Henry and Mary Stover to Bausman Memorial Reformed Church of Wyomissing. Does this deed make up another part of the church's campus?
Yes, it does.
In your capacity with the church, have you been authorized by the church to work with L&H Signs to design a new sign for Bausman Memorial Church?
I have been. Yes.
And are you familiar with the current sign?
Yes, I am.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit A5, is that the current sign?
That is.
In designing the new sign, did you attempt to retain many aspects of the current sign while utilizing available new technology?
Correct.
You retain the changeable message board but utilize new technology so that it can be changed electronically, is that correct?
Correct.
You retain the name of the church above the changeable message board, is that not correct?
Correct.
You retain the cross rising above the display to the side of the sign as with the
I'm sorry,
current
I
sign.
didn't understand.
Yeah, let's strike that over.
Thank you.
You retain the cross rising above the display to the side of the sign as with the current sign, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions for this witness.
I don't at the moment, but we may have some as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Purcell.
We could. If any of the members of the audience have any questions for Mr. Wertz at this time?
Not yet.
Mr. Purcell, can you state your full name and business address for the record, please?
It's Rafael Prasad, 425 North 3rd Street, Reading, Pennsylvania, 19601.
Sorry, 425.
North 3rd Street. Yeah, 3rd.
Third.
Thank you.
Are you employed by L&H Signs?
Yes,
In what capacity are you employed by L&H Signs?
project coordinator,
How long have you been so employed?
approximately 6 months.
In your capacity as project manager, are you assisting Bausman Memorial United Church of Christ with their sign replacement project?
Yes,
And did L&H Signs prepare a zoning application?
yes,
Turn your attention to Exhibit A1, as the board recognized the application. Are you familiar with the current sign?
yes,
How many square feet is the current sign in area?
27 and a half.
What is the height of the current sign at its highest point?
It's 9 feet and 9.5 feet.
In designing the new sign, did you attempt to retain many aspects of the current sign while utilizing available technology?
Yes,
I'm gonna turn your attention to Exhibit A4. Is that the new sign?
yes,
And is that also Exhibit A4 up on the screen there?
yes,
In designing the new sign, you retain the changeable message board but utilize new technology so that it can change electronically, correct?
yes,
You retain the name of the church above the changeable message board.
yes,
You retain the cross rising above the display to the side of the sign as with the current sign, correct?
yes,
Now, turning your attention toward the operation of the sign, the message on the sign will not change at intervals less than 30 seconds, will it?
no,
And is it the intent actually, once the content is put on the sign, for it to stay static?
correct.
Can you repeat that, please?
In other words,
Content?
once they program a message and put it up, it's not gonna like scroll or it's just gonna stay static.
Okay, that's important.
The sign will not display a traveling or segmented message, correct?
No,
The illumination of the sign will not exceed 340 CDM squared before sunrise or after sunset, correct?
correct.
The actual sign display is just shy of 18.25 square feet, correct?
Correct.
The rest of the 9.25 square feet attributed to the sign area is the housing surrounding the display, correct?
Correct.
I'm sorry, is the housing?
Surrounding the display. Housing. The housing of the sign was important to the church because it retained many of the aspects of the current sign, correct?
Yes.
The height of the sign from the pedestal to the strike that. The height of the sign from the pedestal to the top of the church's name on the housing is approximately 6 feet, correct?
Correct.
The remaining 3 feet of height is attributable, strike that, that's a big question. The remaining 3 feet of height attributable to the sign is the remaining height of the cross, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that if variance is granted to permit the height and area variance as set forth in the sign plan, that the proposed sign will not alter the central character of the neighborhood it is located in or the R2 zoning district?
Yes.
Do you believe that if the proposed height and area variance are set forth in the sign, as set forth in the sign plan are granted, that the proposed sign will not substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent
I'm
properties?
sorry, Mr. Mooney, you're
Too fast?
slow down.
Sorry.
When you read, you go twice as fast.
Sorry.
Granted that the sign would,
I'll start the whole question over.
okay, thank you.
Do you believe that if the proposed height and area variance, as set forth in the sign plan, is granted, that the proposed sign would not substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property?
Correct.
Do you believe that if the height and area variance, as set forth in the sign plan, is granted, the proposed sign will not be detrimental to the public welfare?
Yes.
Do you believe that the proposed sign as set forth in the sign plan provides the minimum variance that will afford relief to the developer and represent the least modification possible of the borough's regulation regarding sign area and height?
Yes.
The proposed sign will not adversely affect the character of the general neighborhood.
No.
The proposed project will not negatively affect property values in the surrounding neighborhood.
No.
The proposed sign will not negatively affect health or safety of residents or workers on adjacent properties in the general neighborhood.
No.
The proposed sign will not affect the reasonable use of neighboring properties.
No.
The proposed sign will not endanger neighboring properties or residents.
No.
The proposed sign will not create undue traffic congestion or traffic hazards in the general neighborhood around it.
No.
Services and utilities such as electricity are available to adequately service the proposed sign.
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Robert? I need to understand more about the messages and what do you mean by fixed and what do you mean by changing and so on. Can you answer that, or does Mr. Wertz answer that?
No, I think we can answer.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Wertz would be programming, so we have to.
It's okay.
What?
Okay, no, go ahead.
I mean, the intent for us is to have static message. It's just updating the sign to be electronic. We're not looking at spinning designs or anything to that such. So based on the controller that the software package has, at the minimum, I believe it's 30 seconds, we can actually keep it up longer than that, and it won't scroll. It displays, comes off, and then a new message would come up.
So you're looking to change the messages every 30 seconds?
No, it has the potential, but we're not going to be doing that kind of thing, because if you think about a church, we're not going to have 20 different things going through there. We're going to have maybe 1 to 2.
Over what period of time?
We can set it to be every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. We can set it from 30 seconds up.
What's the church's intent in how they make those changes? How frequent?
We'll set it at every 5 minutes.
And when it changes, it would be an instantaneous change.
I have the sign person ask that question.
Yes. It would disappear and new message would pop up.
So it's not gonna be a fading or scrolling, correct?
No.
It's a message or shown in LED lights, whatever, I don't know what the technology is today, but it's essentially lighted letters
Yes.
telling me what the church is doing.
Correct.
And those lighted letters are on all night?
No. So.
But we have the option again to have, it has a dimmer, so once it goes to nightfall, like right now, we have a timer on our floodlights that come on when it gets dark. This would go below the illumination requirements of the borough for the evening. We can also set it to turn off at a certain time, because to be honest, there's no reason to have it on at 1 in the morning. So we'd set a reasonable time where we would shut off and then turn back on in the morning.
And what is that time?
10 PM, 6 AM.
I grew up at 1100 Penn Avenue. So this sign would shine in my bedroom. Seriously, it would. And as I looked out the house, and I think that not having it on through the night is very important to maintain the statue of the nature of the neighborhood, even though it is long turned from a bunch of us kids running around that alley. It's still it's still a Wyomissing neighborhood. Other questions, Dan?
Yes, I wanna make sure that I'm clear. We went over the size of the sign, so let's just start. What is the current height of the sign?
9.5.
So the sign is 9.5 feet high as it currently exists?
Correct.
And that's from the ground to the top of the cross?
Yes.
And in the same area for measurements, what's gonna be the proposed height?
27 square feet.
No, I wanna know height.
The height, or 8.5 feet for the new sign.
Nine,
It's 9, right?
yeah, it's nine.
My bad, sorry, 9. We're
So the
Going
new
ahead,
sign
it's
from
smaller.
the ground to the top of the cross is gonna be 9 feet?
yes,
So it's 6 inches shorter?
correct.
And what is the maximum height under the zoning ordinance?
6.
Alright. As far as the size of the sign, the current square footage of the sign is what?
27.5.
And that includes just the sign face, or is that the entire, with the frame and the supports? Where do you get the 27.5 feet for the current site?
It's the square foot from one end to the other, like both legs, and then from the left, excuse me, the bottom of the bottom cabinet to the top of the cross. That bottom cabinet there.
So for the square footage of the sign, you're not just looking at the sign faces,
No,
you're taking, basically putting a box around the entire sign and developing the square footage that way?
correct.
I think that's what the ordinance calls for, right?
Yes.
No.
Go ahead, Michelle.
First of all, the existing sign is not 27.5 square feet, it's approximately 38.54 square feet.
I'm
Using
sorry,
the
it's approximately what?
38.54 square feet, using at least the measurements that are depicted on this photo. I didn't have, I literally got this a couple hours ago, so I didn't have a chance to compare existing to proposed. The only measurements was given were the ones shown on here, so I just took overall square footage, because that's all I was given.
So what is the proposed square footage, Michelle, on here?
27.5, so had I known that, they actually wouldn't have needed relief, because they're shrinking. The new sign size, the overall square footage, will be smaller than the existing sign.
And so is the height.
Correct.
Do they still need relief for that?
No,
But they really need relief for the,
digital message board.
So you see a
Special
special
exception.
exception for the message.
And I'll take responsibility for that, client got me involved a little late, and I had the client go out and get the measurements when I got involved last week. and just transmitted those to Michelle. So I got involved in this one late in the game, and, got the measurements out to Michelle after everything was advertised and memo was done.
So we're down to, the measurements are fine, but we're still, the message board is still,
Which their testimony complies with section 606.8.19, which is segmented or traveling messages are prohibited. Electronic signs must provide a minimum change interval of at least 30 seconds, which is the minimum the software will allow. And at no point on the electronic sign shall the luminance exceed 340.
I'm sorry, show the.
Sorry. Shall, now I'm doing it too. Shall the luminance exceed 340 candle foot per square meter before sunrise or after sunset?
So, what, give me that section again, Michelle?
606.A.19, and then it's subsections A, B, and C.
So, okay, so they don't need relief from 606A19, A, B, or C as it relates to
Variance.
a variance. They still need a special exception for digital.
606A.19 to allow one. So a digital message board is permitted under 606.8.19, subject to A, B, and C subsections being met, which their testimony has indicated they intend to comply with.
So then, are you, based upon what the information that's been presented to you,
Today, they only need special exception.
got it, so make sure it's clear.
Yep,
and that special exception applies to the digital board.
correct.
Okay.
And that's under
606.8.19, subsection A, B, and C.
So,
Smarty pants.
so
Yeah, keep going.
we're all here, and it's kumbaya, and
All right, so let's go back to now the digital sign. So now the question is simply whether or not the board is willing to grant the special exception for the digital piece of the sign. Got it. I don't under. Yeah. All right, so now.
somebody wound him up today. I'm not sure why.
Right.
Okay,
So I don't have any further questions. Now we need to find out whether any of the other folks in the back of the room have any other questions.
only if they understand subsettings.
You have a
Gentlemen,
question, go ahead.
Okay, well, I have a couple.
I'm sorry, can you give me your name again?
Vince Bolek.
Olin, thanks.
Could you put the picture up with the,
This one or the existing?
with the one next to the driveway? The previous one, yeah, that. So just a point of clarification. This, ground that you measured 9 feet off of, this driveway is up from the elevation of the sidewalk. You can see the sidewalk here,
Mhm.
and it comes along here down, it's lower, it's like 4 feet to their point zero, their zero.
So this is the time for questions. So ask your questions. You'll have a chance to make a statement.
Does that still meet the height requirement without exception?
Yes, because it's from grade, not from, so they're measuring from grade, which is
So
ground.
grade, this is okay, that this is grade.
This is grade, for the
Okay.
sign,
Not when you're standing there looking at the sign,
no.
4 feet lower.
Grade is where the sign is actually attached to the ground, the highest point.
Alright, that's fine. The 340 candle foot per meter squared, can you put that in layman's term, like, is it a stoplight? Or how bright is it? Is it the
Just
Sheetz
information,
sign
yeah.
or the Wawa sign,
It,
something like that?
it's just information that we were reading off of the digital board itself.
So
But I
let me
wouldn't
ask you,
compare it.
so how does that compare to other signs? What does that look like for a resident looking at it? Can you give us an example of what that equates to?
I'm trying to figure out what digital sign looks like here. We installed one previously for Redner's. Are you familiar with that one?
Where?
Digital board,
Redner's where?
one right in Penn Ave, but It's
So,
more
okay, so
West
there's a
Lawn.
red-
That's way north.
So-
It's West Lawn,
This one, yeah.
So the Redner's in West Lawn,
yes,
there's a digital board over
Correct.
there.
correct.
So is that for the fuel prices and things?
No, this isn't for fuel prices.
So there's another digital sign.
Correct.
Is it similar in brightness or lumens or whatever
Yes.
measurement
Similar and bright,
to that sign on Penn Ave?
correct.
Is it similar to what you would see at the gas pump signs, the prices for gas signs? Is that similar in
It's-
brightness?
At night, it's hard to determine, but I would say yes, it's similar in brightness. It depends.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have any further questions for
Yes,
Mr.
I
Haynes?
do. So my main concern for coming here was the,
Okay, so questions. You have a chance to make a statement.
yes,
So questions.
I need to build up to it. Okay, my
Questions,
question,
right to the question.
is it gonna be safe for traffic, for pedestrian traffic crossing Penn Ave? So let me,
No,
may I build
I
up
think
to
we
it?
all understand it. So will this sign in any way impede or interfere with pedestrian traffic on Penn Avenue?
Right, he already swore in and said it does not. So may I,
ability to see.
No,
so the purpose of the sign is
You're
to
gonna have a
attract
chance,
attention.
you're gonna have a chance to make a statement. So
Okay,
these are questions. So please ask questions.
that was my question.
Okay, you'll have a chance
I'll come back to
to
it.
explain all of that to us.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Jadek?
What technology is this sign? Is it a TV screen or is it the dotted high-intensity LEDs? What exact technology is it used?
yes, the company is called Dacatronics, so it's basically not a TV, it's a digital board with those LEDs lights on
And we don't know how often they are, like in dots per square inch. 'Cause
it. I have, the dimensions for it here, and line space 10 mm, or is it that you're looking for, the line spaces for the digital information?
I don't know, what does that say?
I think let me try to, are you trying to ask how many lights make up the entire digital?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
it's the resolution of this thing, and so that's what I was trying to find out exactly.
That's my question.
Okay, resolution is something a little bit different. So it's approximately from the website, it's called Dacatronics Verizon Lifetime 4G cellular data plan per modem.
No.
So 100,000 pixel. That's what they call it.
It's 100,000 pixels make up the board,
100,000 pixels per, what's the surface?
27 square feet.
Okay, and my next question, is it possible that we don't flip the message? That is really bothering to drivers. If this thing just go flash into another message, rather than, like Dan was saying, just kind of ease into the next message, I would be a lot better.
Well, that's all programmable.
Well, the question is that possible,
Yes,
and
it is
can
possible.
we commit to that?
Per the borough.
Well, we're not making,
Wait,
we're not making any agreements here. This is the zoning hearing board that makes the decision.
Okay.
This is simply asking questions and getting facts.
Is it
So
possible?
he said it was possible to do the
Okay.
slower transition, or I think there was testimony earlier about fading, or a train kind of moving
The,
transition.
the board is able to be programmed that way, however, the borough ordinance does not allow for fading, so the borough ordinance will require the message to disappear and then the new message to appear. That's what's required by the borough ordinance, and actually, I know I've seen the data, they actually say the phasing is worse for drivers than
Okay.
what the ordinance says.
Mr.
Mooney, is that section,
You're pretty good, you got that.
All right, so, any other questions?
Yeah, that's fine.
Residents, do you have any other questions?
Comment?
You'll have a chance. Go
Okay.
on. Okay, I see no other questions. So at this point, Mr. Mooney, do you have any further witnesses?
No. I'd ask for, all my exhibits to be
Right, so
entered in
you
evidence.
rest and you're asking for, okay, that's fine, those exhibits will be admitted. Now, we want to talk about standing with those other folks, or we will just before we? Okay, so at this point, then, for each of the residents that are back there, if you would like to make your statements, now will be the appropriate time and place to do that. So who wants to go first?
No, I mean, I can go.
So please, just for the record again, so she has it.
Chip, long time, hello.
I'm
and-
sorry, can
Chip.
you do me a favor?
Yep.
Can you come up to the table?
Sure.
I can't turn and type at
Sure.
the same time. Makes it
Why
very
don't you come,
difficult for me.
Chip, why don't you just go right over there?
You got it?
Make it easier for her to see.
I don't really have a huge statement here, it's gonna be quick.
Sorry to do that.
That's
to you.
quite all right.
And give me your name again.
Chip, Lontai, Lontai. All right, now my only statement is I would hope that this would be understated and subdued. I think probably that's a common resident concern is, no one wants to be looking like you're like next to a Vegas wedding chapel or something. So I definitely think that the brightness is gonna be an issue. Glad there's no animation, none of that. That's by borough ordinance, so that's good. So I think understated and subdued is definitely good. We're right on the cusp between the commercial and the residential, right off Penn Avenue. So I think that the more we keep the commercial on the commercial side and not impede on the residential side, that's only gonna help the residents. But that's really my only comment and concern is subdued is good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the purpose of the
Okay, so why
sign,
don't you, again, just so again, for the record, your name?
Vince Follett. So the purpose of the sign, of course, is to attract attention so that people read it. And so, it's one thing to have a sign you walk by and it's a pedestrian sign, but like Chip brought up about the intensity of the sign, I'm worried about it grabbing the attention of the drivers, especially those headed east on Penn Ave. There's a pedestrian crosswalk there. It's got the handicap ramps, so it's inviting handicapped people to cross there. And even not handicapped people can have trouble getting across Penn Ave when there's heavy traffic. Now, when people come over the bluff, is why I was particularly concerned about the eastbound traffic on Penn Ave. There's a bluff about 100 yards from the sign. So you can be a pedestrian looking to the left, walking across Penn Ave to the north, and see no traffic and take a step out into the street. And at 35 miles an hour, you have 6 seconds. That car has 6 seconds until it reaches the crosswalk. So now, instead of seeing a pedestrian, their eyes could be drawn to the sign, and it could be a distraction and a safety issue. There really is no safe cross point if you put that sign there. There's no underpass, there's no walkway over. You can go all the way down to the next corner on Belmont, at the intersection of Belmont instead of the intersection of Trent. But crossing Penn Ave to go to the post office, which is relatively high foot traffic area, is a safety concern of mine when you put an electronic sign there as opposed to what I'll call a pedestrian sign. So here's the math for 6 seconds. But you have a 6-second window for that car to see the pedestrian and not get distracted by the sign.
Bullock, are you asking us to enter that as an exhibit that you just handed to Michelle?
She has the 6 seconds in there, but if anyone asks, Questions?
Why don't we just mark that as bulk exhibit one, so we have that map.
Please consider the safety issue. There are many ways to address it. You can put an underpass under Penn Ave, that would be a couple $100,000. Or you can put signage, or you're not gonna add another traffic light. But please consider the safety of the pedestrians crossing Penn Ave.
Well, do you have any further testimony, witnesses, or exhibits?
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jada?
I just want to raise awareness about setting a precedent. I think that if we, what I understand, and I think everybody understands the same thing of this illuminated sign, then the nail salon, then Anthony Barber's, then all the lawyer offices are gonna start putting the same type of sign on Penn Ave. What will that be? I think we need to, and I agree with all the previous residents that safety is a concern, but again, once we go that route, when do we stop? So, and of course, at night is an issue, so I think it makes sense to think twice if we want that to be the look of Penn Ave. Thank you.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, right. Now we must do some legal things before we can move ahead.
Michelle, you previously been sworn,
Correct.
so in your capacity as the zoning officer for the borough, what are your duties and responsibilities?
Wait, am I secretary or zoning? I missed which one you said.
You're Michelle.
Which,
Michelle, so as the secretary
okay,
for the
sorry.
zoning hearing board,
As secretary to the zoning hearing board, I prepared a public notice that was advertised in the Reading Eagle on April 25th and May 2nd of 2023. That same notice was mailed to all adjacent property owners located within at least 300 feet of the subject property on April 19th of 2023 at approximately 1:30 p.m. and was posted on the subject property April 20th of 2023 at approximately 2:30 p.m.
your copies of those documents with you today?
I do.
We'll mark those as board exhibit number one collectively. Do you have anything further as the secretary for zoning hearing board?
I do not.
All right, in your capacity as the zoning officer for the borough, commercial zoning officer for the borough, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a memo to the zoning hearing board dated April 20th of 2023 summarizing the application and the relief requested.
Same memo that was read into the record earlier by the chairman of the board,
Yes,
and do you have a copy of that with you today?
I do.
We'll mark that as board exhibit number two. At the time of the application, what zoning ordinance was in effect?
The one that was printed January of 2022. And I do have one thing to add as zoning officer. I'd also like to introduce, as a borough/board exhibit, an email exchange, between April 13th and April 19th of 2023 between myself and Darien Haynes from L&H Signs, where I basically indicated I was amending his application because he had filled it out incorrectly and requested the wrong sections. So he is giving me permission in this email exchange to amend the application.
Understood. So let's go back, and so the zoning ordinance will be B3, and we're not going to move that into admission. B4 will mark the email exchange between you and Darien
Haynes,
Haynes.
Haynes.
Got it. We'll mark that as board exhibit number 4. Mr. Mooney, do you have any objection to any of those exhibits?
No objection.
Okay, those exhibits will be moved today. Michelle, do you have anything further for the board's consideration today?
I do not.
Thank you very much.
This time, we'll recess, see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, we're gonna call a meeting of the Wyomissing zoning hearing board back to order. Mr. Allman.
I move that we deny the request for variance, or for the variance under section 606A6 and 606B2B as not necessary, and we grant the request for a special exception for under section 606 A19 for signs to allow a digital message board that can change electronically. To be subject to the conditions, terms and conditions be placed upon the record by our solicitor.
And those conditions will be as follows. The first one will be that the sign will turn off between the hours of 10 PM and 6 AM. Second one is that the sign will not change at intervals greater than, or less than 5 minutes per segment. And then finally, the rest are going to be our standard conditions that we impose, which are applicants are bound by and comply with all testimony that's, and evidence presented at the hearing today. Applicants will be required to comply with the zoning ordinance, in particular, section 606, as we've discussed throughout this hearing. Next, applicants shall use and maintain the property in compliance with all federal, state, and local laws as well. Applicants must obtain and pay for all permits that are necessary for the construction of the sign. Next, the applicant will not otherwise use the property or the sign in any manner that's inconsistent with this decision. And finally, the applicant, the relief that's granted here must be implemented within 1 year of the date of the written decision.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Relief is granted.
Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.